a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Deus Ex Media.
A half-blood of the eldest gods shall listen to this bonus show, against all odds.
I'm Charlie from Cabin 13.
And I'm Ray from Cabin 12.
And I'm Christina from Cabin 3 3/4.
Our bestie!
Hey,
it's the Pod Daddy!
I'm
We're
here.
our book friends.
Episode. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, honored to be here for this of all bonus episodes.
You wanted to be here. You did ask.
Here's the trick, is there's so few of your friends. Can you really turn to them and be like, I need you to read a whole book for a thing I'm doing? So it's slim pickings when you need someone to read a whole book, but you can always count on me to read a whole book. I will do it.
It's true. It's true. I can count on you to read this wonderfully perfect, absolutely, this is not sarcasm. This is...
I'm going to be honest with y'all. Okay. So, this is Rick Riordan's Big Red Tequila. Y'all are probably not familiar with it. It doesn't seem to be
Don't read it.
Incredibly popular. We can't even find there's a wiki page. It doesn't have a plot summary on it, which is
a full summary.
A little distressing.
I really want a full
you couldn't
summary.
find a
for
summary?
reasons.
Not a full one. Like, you can find
it's
a
got
blurb.
the book description, but yeah, not a full plot summary. No.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's wild.
Yeah.
I would think that more people would have read this just because of the author.
No.
People haven't read it very much because it's it's okay. I think that I enjoyed this book a lot more than most people seem to enjoy this book. I think part of the reason for that is that I purchased a copy of this book. I read the first chapter out of the book. The rest of it I listened to as an audiobook.
Is the audiobook good?
Yeah, it's really decent. It's much better than the Percy Jackson ones. Like, the reader is perfectly tolerable. He has to do some accents, which, your mileage may vary there.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know if the accents are good. That sounds bad, actually.
If you get a good enough voice actor, I've heard some pretty good accented audiobooks.
Yeah, it's not terrible. The accents aren't even quote unquote offensive or whatever. It's just it feels vaguely weird to have a white guy doing a lot of different Hispanic accents, because there's a ton of Hispanic characters in this book.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe a couple narrators was in order here.
I don't know.
I gave this book 2
that's
stars
a weird
on
location.
I gave this,
yeah?
I gave this book 2 stars on my story graph.
Yeah.
Did you give
I hear
an
it's a
official
difficult
review?
read. I had a very easy time with it because it's super easy to listen to things. So
yeah, there's something about a book that you're not really enjoying. It's I'm reading this with my literal eyes right now.
Yeah.
It's why am I going through this? This book was, I think that if I had read this book by any other author, I would have been like, oh, sweetie, you tried. But since I know this is Rick Riordan, I just feel like I can really, I feel like I am seeing the kind of person Rick was before he discovered the joys of middle grade. I feel like he just wasn't very good and was a super fucking regular guy. Just
aww,
the regular Joe from Texas.
It's so basic. It's like if you sorry, I'm roasting this so hard. It's like if you got someone to generate a Texan murder mystery, a computer.
I mean, what's the tagline here?
Okay,
what is the tagline?
He knows Tai Chi and he has a PhD in English.
Everything in Texas is bigger, even murder.
God, yeah, okay, that's the funniest fucking tagline I've seen in my entire life. I just peaked my audio like crazy.
Same.
Yeah, so while there were elements to this book that I enjoyed, I generally don't recommend it, period. Unless you really love this genre, which I don't really.
I'm not big on adult books in general, so.
Out of adult books, quote unquote, pulpy murder mystery, type, stuff where there's a series around a quirky little detective. I don't know. I haven't read a ton of those, but they're always, easy. They're very popcorn type books.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's maybe what pissed me off about this book is that I feel like there were so many characters. And I absolutely could not keep track of them all. So I kind of lost the plot maybe 60% of the way through.
I did in fact read a review where someone was like, yeah, some of the characters even had similar names. You shouldn't do that as an author.
If I were his editor, I would have said half as many characters.
There are really a lot of people in this book. And I was like, okay, I'll just grab the book and, flip through it and look for some stuff real quick. I can't find it. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, there's so many slick adult dude characters that they work for the police or the newspaper or whatever, and they just are all doing the same thing. I feel like
I don't know. I feel like he worked to give everybody at least some personality, some flavor. His newspaper friend who's who's trying to get him to let him publish the story, and he's basically helpful but also pushy and clearly cares more about his stories than anything else. I feel like that's vaguely interesting. His Hispanic crime friend who
classic Hispanic
Ralph?
crime friend.
Yeah, Ralph.
Yeah, is he the one? Is he the one who's at the end also?
No.
Okay. Well, different crime friend.
That guy is not his friend. That is the mafia boss who he thought could have killed his dad.
I'm so glad you're here, Ray, because
Yeah.
I need this book explained to me. I feel like I missed so much.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I feel
okay,
like it too. I'm still confused. I thought the plot of this book was gonna be him getting the guy for killing his dad, but he didn't?
Yeah, it's an entirely different story from that, so that's good. Okay, so first thing first about Rick Riordan's writing style and the connection between this book and the entire Percy Jackson series. You know what Rick likes to write about? You know what topic Rick finds deeply, deeply fascinating? Parental trauma, baby!
Wow.
You're correct, actually.
Yeah.
You're so right.
How else do you write an interesting character?
Wait, isn't his mom also a sweetheart?
Okay, no, the entire book is about parental trauma. His parental trauma, which is actually deeply fascinating because you're oh, we're gonna glorify his, cop dad, great. And then his cop dad turns out to actually have been, a huge bastard who was, cheating.
I thought that was cool.
Sleeps around, who, may have agreed to, be part of this fucking real estate scam, but, he died before we... and so it's, left open, even how much of a bastard he was. And, that's
just
interesting.
Like Dumbledore.
This really complicated relationship. His ex-girlfriend, Lillian, has this whole thing with her parents where they, she was going to reveal the real estate scam and also murder, which are connected somehow.
It, right?
Yeah, she witnessed the murder, which is connected to the real estate scam. I don't actually understand how, but
I'm still confused.
Yep. Couldn't tell you.
But her parents fucking locked her up. We thought she was kidnapped the whole book. Her parents kidnapped her and locked her up so that she couldn't reveal any of this shit.
Yeah,
so
that
that's
was
fucked
bonkers.
up. And she had a whole thing at the end because her dad really sucks. And I enjoy that they did that I'll shoot you because you're dating my daughter, blah, 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 thing comes up, but it is not played for comedy in this. That guy sucks. And then, who else had a parental trauma that I was thinking about?
What's his name, Ted or Tim?
Ben, I literally do not remember.
Lillian's, the guy that Lillian was, also dating.
Yeah, Lily's other ex.
I think his name's Ted, right?
There was
No,
Dan
it's not Ted.
and Bo, right?
Maybe it was Dan.
Dan
Wait, I
Chef?
think it
Yes,
was
I think
Bo.
you're right. It was Dan. No,
Wait.
Bo is the art guy.
Oh yeah, Bo's the art guy. I opened it up to a random page and I'm just completely lost.
Didn't she
Yeah,
date
yeah.
both of them? Or was it...
No,
I
they-
don't know
They
if she was
only
dating...
insinuated that there may have been something with her and Beau. There was like
Yeah.
never
Okay.
confirmed.
Beau was much older than her, and she had
Wait,
like
really?
an obsession with him
That's
or
so
something.
funny. I got the impression that Beau was like much younger than her. That's so funny. I probably missed
Oh
something.
no, the art guy was like her like art mentor,
Though. Okay.
her photography mentor guy who she started a
I
business
know she got
with.
the restraining order against
Heard.
him, and then
She
they
did.
reconciled. I thought it was
God,
like
because
they
never
dated and then
reconcile.
yeah.
Never ever reconcile. Okay. I think I'm getting the hang of it. I also finished reading this like 2 weeks ago. I should have.
Oh yeah,
Read it.
yeah.
closer
Charlie
to
and
the
I both
record
finished
date.
it this morning.
Yeah, I'm just like, who's this? Okay, is Carlin the newspaper friend?
I think so.
Okay, there's the newspaper friend who's like, let me publish the story. Okay, and then there's Lillian and Maya, the two hot girlfriends.
We can talk a little bit about that later. Yeah.
liked
it gets
Maya.
a little weird in there.
Actually,
Maya was a dumb idiot, dude. Never chase a man ever.
I just liked her banter with Trace, okay? Like, when he actually had, like, a friend. I like
Yeah, it was
that.
nice that he had someone to talk to other than the fucking cat.
I love his cat.
Do not slander my son and boy,
Robert
Richard Johnson.
Johnson.
Robert Johnson, damn
Wait,
it. Okay,
Charlie,
I
I
would
messaged
kill for
you
that cat.
Hold on, I messaged you something about Robert Johnson, right?
Oh, yeah, you were gonna say something
me
about
look
this
it
fucking
up.
cat.
Okay, wait, hold on. Where's my chat
There's
with you?
backstory.
Okay, Robert. Okay, dude, this is so weird. Okay, so apparently on August 16th, one of my podcasts is super randomly talking about Robert Johnson, who is apparently a famous musician. That's all I got. But I didn't write the band? Is that real? What a dumb... Robert Johnson. It just says American musician. Okay, well, great. Yeah, I guess I was listening to something on some podcast about him. I listened to some random shit. So
Interesting.
The cat was named after someone.
Okay, I guess that makes more sense than it just being Robert Johnson. But like,
The cat
I
was
love,
definitely the best character.
yeah,
Yeah,
This-
he ate
this cat-
enchiladas?
yes. And apparently his regular dinner involves a tortilla.
Yeah.
Frisky's on tortilla.
Disgusting, but
sir,
clever.
Is this
you
normal?
cannot
Well,
feed your cat tortillas as part of his regular diet.
But maybe-
what the fuck?
Maybe it's like a distraction. Like, you gotta make him work for his dinner. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, the like stimulus in my enclosure.
Yeah, like figure out how to open this little disgusting Frisky's papusa and you can have whatever is inside.
I just
My
love that
cat
cat.
Dante just came and sat like uncomfortably close to me.
Can
Did you
we-
hear
can
me
we
say
talk
something a
about-
cat?
Can we talk about the main character and his name as well?
Yes, god damn it, Trace. It took me so fucking long to realize that was a pun. It took me until today when I was looking at the Wikipedia page and they were like, Trace,
Really?
pronounced Trace, Trace. And I was like, fuck, he's a detective, god damn it.
But
Yes,
Jackson
his name
Navari
is-
the Third?
His name is Percy Jackson Navarre III.
It's just Jackson, which is, yeah, definitely an interesting, hey, Rick? Jackson? What's going on there?
This
Who is
character,
Jackson? Who is this person? Why?
this character, Trace Navarre, did straight up remind me of Percy Jackson. Like, the same sense of
100%.
humor.
Yeah. Like
if Percy was
like
from
this
Texas
is
and solved
weird
murders.
cop dad Texan Percy
Yeah.
who fucks.
Yeah. This is
a
like
lot.
some really weird, obscure fanfic about Percy. Like, really niche. Like, what if
That-
Percy became not only a cop, but like, or not only like a detective, but like a non-magical detective?
That should be the commercial for this book. Is like, this is actually a Percy Jackson fanfic. Didn't you know?
So it's worth
But-
noting, I think I just called him a detective, but he's not anything. He's just
He's
a nosy
not an English
motherfucker.
major.
And
He's
okay, so from what I understand, he worked for Maya doing investigations. Maya's a lawyer. I don't know what that's about. But it was under the table. He's never had a private investigator's license.
Wow.
So
Can I tell y'all something funny?
Yeah.
I am watching Breaking Bad for the first time right now, which is set in the same part of the country, in the same like time period.
incredible.
And there's definitely some like vibe and aesthetic overlap happening here.
I love that. It's so fun. I've seen one episode of Breaking Bad, exactly. It was a pretty good episode. So.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with it. But yeah, I'm even like in my head, I'm like having a hard time remembering which characters are from which.
Incredible.
Just so many like cops and detectives and like people like whiling out about drugs and stuff.
Yep.
Yes.
Trace, I do like, his sarcastic sense of humor. My favorite thing was when he was trying to get a job and some guy was like, what do you do? And he's like, I got a PhD in English. I know Tai Chi. I have a winning personality. And he's like, so did Maya have you to discuss literature, break legs? And he's like, you'd be surprised how few people can do both. And then he's like,
I think I could do both.
I also was a bartender, and he starts like describing how to make a drink. And then the guy hangs up on him. That is like pure Rick Riordan like amazingness.
Yeah,
that's my favorite
funny.
shit.
Definitely like my favorite part of this book was the main character's like inner narration with, because he's quite funny and he's almost like Arthur Dentian, like really doesn't take himself seriously, like takes everything in stride, but like everything's kind of a joke, you know what I mean?
So Rick, I feel like, is very good at writing with it's like a sarcastic exaggeration that reveals the truth of something, like stand-up comedy. You know how that's like a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, like, everything's a little larger than life because it's Texas, haha. But,
wow.
But it gives the location, the people, a lot of personality in a way where you can tell that Rick lived here. Like, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is... Like, I always like that when you're like, you know this place with an intimacy that you are sharing with me that is, like, really cool. Like, San Antonio is a character in this book. Also, we go to so many restaurants.
Yeah, lots of restaurants, and I did appreciate, any food description, I'm here for it. Yeah, it definitely felt, like, very immersive. Like, the reader's, like, deep in this world.
Yeah. Like, I suppose that the character writing, the plot, none of it is like the most engaging stuff, but like listening to it as an audiobook, every once in a while you're just like, ooh, that was a good line. Nice descriptions, Rick. Like,
so in other words, the audiobook, it's like at an 8. The regular book, it's at like a 4.
I was gonna say a 4 also. That sounds right.
Excellent.
Okay, so I'm just gonna like ask who random characters are. Who's Mr. Asante?
That is the politician, the Hispanic politician who is the corrupt one who is part of the real estate scam.
Yes.
Who he also blackmails at the end of the book.
Yeah, that was.
And I was like,
sexy.
Hey, Trace, what the fuck? And it was a really weird scene where, like, this guy has been, like, this, like, very unpleasant politician this whole time. Like, every time he's, like, really passive-aggressive every time you meet with him. And then we, like, go to his house, and he has, like, really nice kids, and who, like, very clearly love him, and they want him to, like, come to dinner. And Trace is just, like, actively blackmailing this man. It was a really weird scene, and I know that something was being said there, and I don't know what. Rick's worlds, as I have said before, are very, very harsh. Like, people are unpleasant and difficult to deal with. Like, there's a lot of, like, seedy underbelly kind of thing. But at the same time, there is a sympathy for fellow man in the writing, I feel. It never goes full bleak. It's more of a dark humor with a core of heart. And so every character, no matter how they present themselves, has a very human core. And I think that maybe that was the point of that scene, that this is just like a guy, even no matter what he's done otherwise.
Yeah, everyone's just a guy in the end.
I don't know, though. It was really interesting. I'd almost want to, like, read it again, but I can't do that.
Save it, come back to it in a year.
Yeah.
And then there's that guy named Guy.
Is there?
Yeah,
I don't remember a guy named Guy.
That's the guy who murdered his dad, right?
Oh, Guy White.
Guy White. Oh, no.
Guy White.
He's the one in the garden, right?
Yes. The garden scene is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
I love that shit. Rick Riordan was made to write gods. Like, that is so, like, eccentric, powerful, like, we're just out here in the midday gardening my beautiful flowers. You gotta be tough on these. People coddle these flowers, but not me.
Big villain energy.
It's so good.
It's really good.
My favorite, like, minor character is the security guard at Guy White's place. I don't remember his name.
I was just about to say the exact same sentence as
He's so fucking funny.
He's the best character.
Like, he's like... So the first time, he's, like, leaning into his car, and Trace, like, steals his gun from his shoulder holster, and he's like, you've never been a cop. When you hold someone up in a car, you never wear a shoulder holster. They can just grab your gun. And then he, like, walks the guy in at gunpoint.
And then they're, like, best friends the next time.
And then they're, like, buddies. Like, the next time he's like, you got a hip holster. Good for you, buddy.
I'm trying to find his name, but, like, obviously.
And then the third time, they're just, like, chatting about, like, that guy's, like, cousins in other parts of Texas. It's
They're
so
best
funny.
friends, actually.
Very cute.
My second favorite random character plot thread, the first chapter is just about Trace beating the shit out of some guy. He doesn't really beat the shit out of him, but he does, like, pull a ligament in his elbow or something, because he was supposed to evict from this apartment so that Trace could move in, and he did not do that. And then, like, we keep, like, hearing about him, like, leaving messages about how he's gonna sue, or, like, at the end of the book, he's like, I got some friends together, we're gonna come kick your ass.
Yeah, that was like so. It wasn't related to anything, and it was so funny and
it's
like
so delightful.
Every
to
time,
me.
like just when you forgot about it, that he would circle back to it again. What's that guy's name? Who's Drapewski?
Oh, that
sounds really familiar.
Larry?
The actual detective?
Oh, Larry Drapewski.
That's Larry.
Okay, yeah.
I remembered him by calling him Larry.
Okay, so there are two, like, really important cops, and one is one who hated his dad, and one is one who really liked his dad, and I can't remember which name is which, because one of them is now, like,
I know Larry
in
was
a position
helpful.
of power and keeps trying to fuck over Trace, and the other one is, like, his bestie who keeps telling, like, terrible fucking stories about his fucking dad and laughing about them, and it's like, man, why did you like this guy? He was a piece of shit.
That is funny.
Parental
Sorry,
trauma.
One of my cats just sat on top of one of my other cats. She always does that. It's pretty rude. He was in the middle of a nap, but she's like, me too.
Can't be doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't remember which cop was which.
I want to say Larry was the one who was helping him.
Okay,
I
I
believe
can't-
you.
I can't keep them straight. Kellen, I think, is the name of the security guard, right?
Yes, Kellen, my best friend Kellen.
Kellen. And then was it Dan's mom whose name was Cookie? So
Yes.
cute.
Yes.
So cute.
And
Cookie's the one who was
Trace's
having...
mom was
yeah.
like, you cannot trust anyone named Cookie to raise a child.
Cookie's the one who was having an affair with Trace's dad? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god, so spicy. It is big Dumbledore energy, like he dies and then you learn that maybe he wasn't everything you thought.
Yeah. But also, like, we get, like, a hunting flashback where, like, Trace is, like, obviously really uncomfortable and his dad's, like, fucking with him, kind of. Like, in this way where it's like, you have to make your own mistakes, son. Ugh, you gotta learn. And so he, like, shoots this animal that I did not recognize the name of. I was like, what is this talking about? But it doesn't matter. Anyways, so it's, like, winter, and he kills this thing. And then he's like, his dad's like, what you gonna do? And he's like, can we use the meat? And he's like, yeah, you can. And then he's like, okay, I'll go skin it. And then his dad lets him do it. And then he's like covered in fucking ticks and fleas and shit because all of the
awful.
bugs
Disgusting.
will move to the nearest warm body. And his dad's like, everybody's got to make that mistake once, but you never make it again. And it's like, come on, just fucking, why are you like this?
That's some
I hate
Texas
this man.
ass shit. Like that's some Texas coming of age right there.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
awful.
man.
Gross.
This whole damn book was dudes. It got so old. I could have probably kept the characters straight better if they were different at all. So many white guys.
It was very dude heavy book. Very dude heavy. Like, and it's like, obviously Lillian and Maya are major characters. His mom is there for like a little bit.
His mom is
She
just,
doesn't
like-
really show up in the second half of the book like at all.
Yeah, she's just there for like ambiance or something. Like she doesn't really help anything.
Well, I like liked seeing his mom. I thought she was legitimately an interesting character. You know,
I agree.
She's got like a lot of new age stuff going on. She's got like a lot of southern charm also, and you know, she does have some of that mom energy that we get from Sally Jackson, where it's like, I support you and I'm worried about you, but I understand you gotta do what you gotta do, kind of like mom vibes.
Yeah, I was like, why do I feel like I've read that recently? And then I was like, oh, the chapter we also are together.
Yes,
she does like exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was also that one character, Trace's brother, Garrett.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was, he had lost both his legs to a train accident.
Yeah, apparently Garrett used to run away a lot, and hop trains, and one day he missed.
Can't run away anymore.
He's in a wheelchair now.
Yeah, but he was pretty cool.
He liked weed a lot.
He was like a hacker, right? Like a stoner
He was a hacker, he liked weed, he listened to a lot of Jimmy Buffett, and he had fruits on his car.
Okay, yes. I remembered him because every 5 seconds Jimmy Buffett was mentioned whenever he was in the chapter. And I was just like, okay, so, like, he hangs out with my mom and dad. He's a parent.
And Maya, like, knew things about Jimmy Buffett, and Garrett was like, can I marry you?
I was shipping it for a second there.
Also, Garrett hated their fucking dad, which, you know, good for him. Garrett was his half-brother from his previous marriage.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Yeah, he was a fun character.
I just remember because it was in the part that I read literally this morning, where they were like Trace was toasting to their dad, like, what a lovable, like, asshole. And then, like, his brother's like, what an asshole.
Trace did not say that.
Somebody said that.
The other Larry did.
That. Yeah.
So, Trace was having some complicated feelings at that
I just
time.
remember Garrett just took out the lovable part and was like, what an asshole.
Yeah, he was like, asshole. But he still toasted, because sometimes you're related to some assholes.
Ain't that the truth?
I want to talk about, I think his name was Carl, the dad's partner.
Okay, I believe you.
So Trace was calling, like, a lot of people about his dad's murder when he got back into town, because he's been trying to forget about it for the last 10 years living in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And then he moves back, and he calls a lot of people, and one of those people is the partner who was also there with Trace when his dad was shot.
Yeah. I do remember that now.
Which was a very effective scene, I felt like just like talking about it, that he was like, we both just had to stand there while the people showed up, you know, to take him away, and we were coming home from getting groceries, and a can of soup rolled into his arm, and that like hit me for some reason, just standing there with your father's corpse and a can of soup rolls into the crooker's arm. It's fucked up.
That's vivid.
Anyways, so Carl is like old, and Trace calls him, and Carl like starts telling him about all the friends that he has who have either died, become ill, or have shitty children, which is exactly what old people talk about. Every time that you are like, let's catch up, and they're like, okay, here's who's ill.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, for real. And Trace is like, oh yeah, it sounds like he probably hasn't, you know, had a phone call in a little bit. So he like patiently listens to this guy because he has a lot of empathy for him. And like, that hits for me. That's very good. Just, I don't know. You know, I feel like there's always a lot of heart and sympathy in Rick's protagonists, but moving back on.
Yeah, and I agree with you though. Like because I think he has like the same energy as Percy, like just like
absolutely,
so like earnest and like just like really. I'm doing my best, but like I'm like a big dodo, and it's kind of hard for me.
It's hard for me, and people are shitty to me a lot, but when I have the opportunity to do someone a kindness, I just do.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people like him. Like Ralph likes him because he that's the Hispanic crime guy. Apparently some people tried to beat him up, and like some football players in high school, and Trace like helped him out, and he's like, you know, it's weird, some white kid like doing that, and then he like gets into a bar fight for Trace with a gun, and I was like, obviously you are a stereotype, Ralph, but also I love you. Like, that whole scene was fucking crazy. Ralph, what the fuck? Why did you pull out a gun? Anyways, back to Carl. Trace calls Carl, and Carl's like, I thought you were my son. I haven't heard from him in a while. He's like down in this other city, and he doesn't call anymore. And
So
Trace,
sad.
yeah, it's so fucked up because then Carl gets like really sick. And so like the next week he calls Trace again and is just like having a normal conversation, the same thing as last time. And then Trace is like, wait, where are you? What am I hearing? And he's like, are you in a hospital? He's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna come see you. I'm coming. What hospital are you in? And he comes to see this guy, and he's, like, really fucking sick. And then, like, one of the last scenes is him and Lillian going to this guy's funeral. And there's, like, barely anyone there. And
Wow.
He gave Trace this, I don't remember what it was, some trinket to give to his son. And he's like, and I will do that. And I will give his son a fucking piece of my mind if I ever do find him. Bitch. What?
Yeah, I guess it was nice to, like, tie the main character emotionally to someone, because pretty much everyone else in the whole book, it's like his two girlfriends and then, like, all these dudes trying to help him
a whole
with
lot
this
of
mystery.
dudes.
Yeah, so it's good to, like, emotionally ground him a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because technically that doesn't have anything to do with the plot other than, he was there at this same moment as Trace was and has this same trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But it also does give you, like, a certain emotional through line. Okay, I have notes here. I don't know what I think it was fucked up that Trace slept with Maya while Lillian was presumably kidnapped.
I didn't love that.
Whatever, dude. Whatever. None of their relationships were, like, good or convincing anyway, in my personal opinion.
He's an asshole in a detective novel. Like, it's
especially,
gonna happen.
like, Lillian, like, I barely, when she disappeared, I, like, barely remembered who she was. I was like, what are we doing? Oh, okay. She just disappeared, like, immediately. So the whole time she's gone, I feel like I, as a reader, like, didn't really give a shit. Because I didn't even know, like, there's so many other characters. Like, you don't even seem like you care about her. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I feel like what she suffers from there is like this paragon woman thing where you're like, she's beautiful and I loved her, and so like, she is woman. That is what we
She
get.
definitely was.
Yeah.
My favorite Lillian moment is at the end when she's drugged and being very silly. Like, I loved that for her. That was like a very good. And then there was, whose mom was it? They took her. Shit, did they take her to like Ralph's mom's house or like someone to like recover?
And
it was this like,
it was Ralph's mom's, I think.
It was like this cute Hispanic old lady who was just like, "Don't worry, we'll take care of her." It was so cute.
Okay. Hispanic people. There's a lot of Mexican and Hispanic characters in this book, and I don't know that the portrayal was especially bad, but it was definitely not, like, especially good. Okay, because we have, for like, Hispanic characters, we have corrupt politician, mafia guy, criminal big shot, high school guy,
right.
And then mostly like poor people. Like there's like the grocery store owner, there's like, and so there is like stuff in this book that is about like economic disparity between different parts of San Antonio and how a lot of that is racially motivated and like, and so it feels like it's really a reflection of like Rick's actual experience in this community, and like a lot of it felt very authentic, of like even just like little things about how like Trace never spoke Spanish growing up, but he learned when he was in San Antonio, and so when he talks Spanish to people, they're like, "You know Spanish now?" But also they're like, "Huh, California."
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of it feels very authentic, but I don't know that it's like the most best goodest.
Yeah, if it were me, I would probably have made at least one of the like leading, like the men in leadership, a Hispanic person as well, just due to proximity.
Besides corrupt politician,
yeah, like
or
make one of the cops Hispanic.
Yeah, but there are a lot of white cops. That is reflective of reality also. And it's so that it seems we would have to ask someone who was not us, because we're pretty white.
Yeah, that's true.
Just a bit.
We are pretty white.
Oof.
I just thought it was worth, discussing, even if I can't come to any conclusions about it necessarily.
There wasn't anything I don't remember that made me be like, ooh, yikes. But there was definitely a couple, instances of, lumping, where they would talk about, a group of people. And that was always we could have phrased that differently, probably.
Yeah.
What else do I have to say about this book? Can we talk about how the main character, Trace Navarre, definitely has some, anxiety problem? And part of what he does, I think, to, soothe that and also to stay in shape is he works many days in this book, he works out for, 4 straight hours or more.
Yeah. I do think it's funny when he's doing, katas with his sword outside, and his neighbors are like, hey, yo, what the fuck?
I love it so much.
Yeah, so then the next time he goes down to, a hidden meadow somewhere to practice in private. Yeah, he does a lot of Tai Chi, right? With,
Yes.
poses.
So does that
For
mean he's a
hours.
waterbender?
Yeah, waterbender energy.
Yes, I believe so. Which is a self-defense art, which he brings up when a cop is like, hey, why did you beat up this guy and kick him out of the apartment?
Because I wanted to, damn it.
What was I going to say about that? Oh, I think it's really interesting how Trace Navarre has 2 pasts in this book. He has his past in San Antonio, which is what the book is about, and we spend all of our time exploring, and he's returning to his old home and rediscovering all these things about himself and stuff. But then there's this other 10 years that he spent in San Francisco, where he worked as a bartender and as a under-the-table investigator, and had a boss/girlfriend and a sensei who barely comes up, who he learned Tai Chi from, who is presumably related to Maya. I think that was implied. I don't actually know.
More sensei action, please.
Yeah, I feel like that stuff has gotta come up in later books in this series, more stuff about the time that he spent in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because it's really vague in the book, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I agree, because it's just not relevant to the story. The only relevant part is Maya, who shows up and is
Right.
miss me? And he's not really. And then after 3 days of wishing she wasn't there, he's like, could you leave? And she's like, you're breaking up with me again, basically.
Yeah, the whole thing with them is really weird. What seems to be implied is that he was with Maya, or vaguely with Maya, when he started talking to Lily again in their letters, and that he broke up with Maya for Lily. And moved to San Antonio, and that was a whole big falling out for them. And so it's really weird that she's there for him.
Yeah, it is really, really weird that she just fucking shows up, dude. I think that's so weird.
Well, she's worried about him. Well, okay, the other thing about Maya and Lillian is that they do feel too obsessed with Trace, but that's also a weird genre convention thing that happens. But
so unrealistic.
Is he a Mary Sue?
You're just a regular
well, but
guy.
she's worried. They're friends at the very least, and he's in some deep shit, and she's like, I can help you out. I don't know. I don't think it's too weird. I don't know.
So presumptuous. That's just how I personally, especially the thing is that it's maybe if you're worried about your friend or something, you just go show up, or your sister, but an ex, I don't know, man. That's not really your place anymore, is it? He made that pretty clear.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
I want better for her character. Same thing with Lillian, dude. Lillian, I just feel was an object of the story.
I did like the ending with Lillian, where she is talking about how she's worried about being like her shitty parents, and Trace, I feel kind of realizes that their relationship past weighs on her, and so he kind of tells her that it's never gonna work out between them, even though he kind of still wanted it to work out between them, because he wants her to move on with her life, because he knows that that'll be better for her. I don't know. I didn't feel like that was written terribly. I thought that was an alright character arc for her. Because she does just get, like, what's the word? MacGuffined pretty early on, where she's, she can't be present in the story because she's not there.
She is the story now. Yeah, I definitely lost track of her pretty early on. But then again, I lost track of everything pretty early on. I gave it my all. I'm like, what else? Oh, one other thing about this book that I did not get at all is, like, it really did, like, talk about Texas a lot.
It did.
In the way that, like, every Stephen King book is, like, it's set in Maine.
Yeah.
Like this, but, like, and even, as you mentioned, the tagline is, everything in Texas is bigger, even murder. The back cover copy, Trey's house to rescue the woman, nail his father's murderer, and get the hell out of Dodge before mob-style Texas justice catches up to him. The chances of staying alive looked better for the defenders of the Alamo. Like,
oh god, that's terrible.
I forgot that I meant to, like, really practice my Texas accent before I came on this call, but now it's too late now. I'm gonna have to make it up as I go. But like a lot of times in this book was it like, well, that's just how we do it in Texas, and I would be like, that's how cops act everywhere. That's not like a Texas thing. Like,
okay,
just wiggle it in there.
On the one hand, I like it, and I feel like there's a lot of personality in the place, and I feel like it's really interesting to get, like, this in-depth vibe of this community and, like, whatnot, this what I can't remember the word, culture, whatever. But on the other hand, the thing that I kept noticing and thinking was weird was that whenever he used similes, it would always be, like, some Texas relevant thing, usually Mexican food. Like,
oh yeah,
like, they were always, like, weird little, and I don't know, I feel like that's almost too ridiculous. It was kind of funny when I started noticing it, like, how often it would come up. Like, yeah. I can't remember one, and I don't have the book, so I can't go hunting for one. I literally did lose it.
That's, like, one of those things that reminds me of Percy Jackson, is, like, kind of off the wall, like similes and metaphors, you know what I mean? Like, and, like, consistently, like, silly and, like, juvenile.
Mm-hmm.
Is it enchiladas that Grover is always talking about?
Yes, it is.
It is, yes. This man loves some fucking enchiladas.
Yeah, make it known. We love an enchilada. Do you guys like enchiladas?
Enchiladas are delicious.
Yeah,
I love enchiladas.
Don't think
Okay,
I've
cool.
had one before.
You gotta try it.
Are you serious?
You gotta try it.
Bro!
All Mexican food is very similar to me, so...
fucking excuse me! They are covered in sauce. They are...
Oh, there you go.
They are...
I don't like
you
sauce.
bake them, and then the sauce, like, suffuses through the tortilla, except on the edges where you get this really beautiful little crisp.
It's quite nice.
Like, I'm thinking of, like, specifically homemade enchiladas. I made a lot of enchiladas growing up. My mom always made chicken enchiladas. I make them now with, like, peppers and onions, because I'm vegetarian now. Fucking delicious. I love enchiladas.
Delicious. Wow. Vivid.
Y'all are slandering.
Hey, I love an enchilada. I just also feel like all Texas, God damn it, all Mexican food is, like, made with the same ingredients. You know what I mean? It's like all kind of the same in different arrangements.
It is. I saw a TikTok where some girl is like, okay, so what's this item on the menu? And she's like, oh, that is meat and veggies, and we put them in a tortilla. She's like, okay, what's this? That's meat and veggies in a tortilla. That's meat and veggies, sometimes with cheese and tortilla. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, but.
And it's
but
all
also,
delicious in my personal
excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born in Texas, but
really? You should have said that at the beginning of this episode before
no,
I slandered it so much.
No, I lived in Texas when I was probably 1 year old, and then we moved to Germany, and then Ohio, and then back to Texas. So I was in Texas for 2 years and grade school. And what I can tell you about Texas. Okay, would you like some professional Texas experience?
Sure.
I lived in the Panhandle by Fort Hood. Is that the one? I don't. I got ADHD. My place names are fucked up. They're terrible. Anyways, what I can tell you is that there are so many fire ants. I had to get special tires for my bike that are full of like this liquid that like fills up holes in them, because there are these little tiny balls of spikes that these plants produce, and they're just everywhere. Like, you go home and you pick like 10 out of your shoe, and they're like thorns. They are like awful. And so I had to have special tires for all the holes that I got in my bike.
Oh my god.
And my brother had chicken pox, and my mom didn't notice because there were always so many ant bites on his ankles already.
Holy shit. That is bananas.
It's also pretty hot, but everybody knows that.
I've heard like a very similar thing about the fire ants from Haley on the restricted section. In the early days of the restricted section, she talked about how she lived in Alabama and had to battle the fire ants.
Fire ants fucking suck. One bit me through jeans. Like, just like stuck in my knee through my jeans. No. I hate them little bastards.
That's wild. That's too much, man.
Yeah.
Jeans are like armor.
Quite. Oh, yeah. We got a scorpion. Yeah. Scorpions in the house.
Oh,
God.
Lord, no.
And they're tumbleweeds. Some people, I don't know. I saw someone on Tumblr being like, wait, tumbleweeds are real? Yes, tumbleweeds are real. They are out there and they are rolling.
I think I have maybe in like Colorado seen a tumbleweed.
Yes, I do believe they are also there.
That's a big West energy. And on the East Coast, it's just grocery bags in the wind.
That also has some energy. Anyways, yeah, so those are my strongest memories of Texas. It's full of fucking shit that wants to bite you.
Vivid.
So it's like Australia?
Yeah, basically. That's just how it gets when it's hot.
Everything's bigger in Texas, even the fire ants.
Exactly. All right. You guys have anything else to say at the book? I think we got everything I don't.
Yeah,
in my notes.
I sure
Final thoughts on this book. It sure exists.
Not my genre. Not my favorite.
No, not my genre at all.
I thought it was fine. Like, it's not really fine. Like, it's both fine and not fine. Like, you're right that it has a lot of problems. Like, you know, there's, like, the morality is, like, vaguely weird. As much as I feel like Rick's kind heart shows through, and, like, you know, it's, some of it's, like, kind of weird. Morality is vaguely weird. Too many characters, so you forget all their names. Like, too many random guys. The plot gets, like, hard to follow. All that stuff is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun, though.
Oh, shit.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Oh, shit. This book is as old as me. I'm gonna throw it away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw it across the room now.
It is also very 90s. This is...
I just
didn't really mention that, but...
When it came out, and I'm like, oh, 97? Throws it across the room.
Wow, I'm old.
So, yeah. So, as... I guess I didn't, like, actually look this up, but, like, it is his first book, right? So,
yes.
you know, you can expect a first book to have some problems.
The crazy thing to me is that, respectfully, well, I guess that there's, I guess I work in publishing, and, like, I guess that there are publishers who are like, this is what we publish, and I'm not that, but it's wild to me that this got, like, so easily published, and, like, it seems like it could have done with some more editing of, like, the characters for clarity.
I'm gonna send y'all a thing real quick. Because someone sent me, like, a meme of... well, not a meme, but, like a screenshot, and was like, I know you're reading this book. And this was Rick's response to,
that's funny. They're asking if he's ever thought about writing books for an older audience.
And he's just like, well, no one knows I wrote adult books, so...
He says the fact that nobody knows about them might indicate that I am a lot better writing for kids than I am for adults. I just love him so much.
I love him. He's great.
I think I'm writing to the audience I know best with middle grade. I feel like that's Rick just saying I am still 12.
Yeah.
I'm a 12-year-old boy.
My sense of humor is that of a child.
So you're saying that a 12-year-old boy
wrote
that
like
book?
Even, like, comes through in this book. But also, like, I'm also glad that I read it. Like, I feel like you do get, like, a snapshot of, like, where he came from. And I feel like that is even more valuable to me than the book itself. Like, you know, I don't want to, like, I don't care about, like, celebrity gossip shit. I don't want to look up shit about Rick's life. I bet he has parental trauma. I'm not going to ask him about it. I don't want him to tell me. I'm not even going to try to look it up.
Is he a junior?
So don't even tell me. But
Is he a junior? Rick?
Oh,
that
interesting.
Would explain a lot.
I swear I learned this recently. Yes, Richard Russell Riordan Jr.
Very fascinating. But I also, I really think that it's, like, incredibly interesting to, like, get this very Texas guy, but who's also, like, a California guy who knows Tai Chi. And, you know, I feel like it's a very distinctive thing. Like, both Trace and San Antonio are both very distinctive things that tell me a lot about Rick as a person and where he came from, and I think that that's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Oh, I forgot about the... This isn't in my notes, but I just remembered the scene where he's, like, sitting in the car, like, following some guy, and he starts listening to, like, Republican talk radio.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, and the guy's like, it's the fault of all those degenerates, and Trace is like, yay, degenerates. That is also a very Southern experience, but, like, a vaguely leftist Southern experience. Constant Republican talk shows. Great times. Like, I think that's funny.
I feel like we should end this. So
yeah, 100%. We should have ended, like, minutes and minutes ago. We are now, I'm coming up to an hour in my recording.
Yeah.
I just keep talking, because I legitimately had, like, like, you guys were like, what are we even going to talk about? And I'm like, guys, excuse me, I have thoughts.
You had thoughts and feelings. No one else.
And thank God for that.
Yeah, I can talk about shit for forever, but we should definitely stop now.
All right, well...
Thanks for listening to our podcast.
Yeah, also, I was trying to think of an outro. Shit. My brain just went blank there.
Everything's bigger in Texas, including the end of this podcast.
Including the length of this fucking podcast. Why did we make it so long? It's a bonus episode.
Dave X Media.